Here we are, Painkiller Nearly, episode 171. I was about to say Kyle, because that's how I start PKA. Like, Kyle? Oh, a couple words from our sponsors.
Couple sponsors this evening, and I thank the Pilgrims for making Thanksgiving possible, massacring those dirty, dirty savages. And
Yeah.
So, Kyle, your Thanksgiving went off without a hitch, right?
it really did. So we did Thanksgiving on Sunday, day before yesterday, and I got my mother and my father over, and Kitty and myself, and I cooked virtually everything. Kitty cooked a couple.
Your mom and dad at the same time?
Yes.
That went smoothly?
Yeah, it went very smoothly.
Good.
My Kitty cooked a couple of like British they don't have Thanksgiving foods, so she's like, "Oh yeah, gonna cook some British stuffing," and I looked at it, I'm like, "I'll cook some American stuffing just in case."
Just so there's
And she's
something
like,
good.
So
Yeah. She made like these stuffing balls, and it was so funny. My dad was like, "I'm gonna try some of your meatballs here, Kitty." She's like, "Oh no, that's stuffing." He's like, "Well, all the same."
Ground up lima beans. Yeah.
So I made the dressing and the turkey and mashed potatoes and macaroni. My macaroni completely melted down. The recipe was all bad, but the turkey was the interesting thing. I fried the turkey.
The most important thing.
I fried the turkey, and I love frying turkeys. Can't use peanut oil, which is the ideal oil to use because Kitty's allergic to peanuts. And last year I used vegetable oil. Didn't taste very good. So this year I used cottonseed oil. And it's really difficult to keep the temperature right at 350 degrees while you're running inside, back and forth, and doing the sides. And at some point, it got a little too hot. Now, before I show you this turkey, let me just say that the inside of the turkey was delicious.
Okay.
It worked out just fine. That I like carved up all of the extras I could, and I'm still eating this turkey. However, this is what the turkey looked like.
Oh my God. That doesn't look good.
It's jet black.
It's jet black.
What the hell is sticking out of it? Like I'm about dreidel. We made it out of turkey.
No, that's the Jews.
What?
So,
What is that thing?
It looks like, it's like a chain.
Well,
he's
you
using
got
to hold it up, or a
so
rope or something.
the turkey. There's this thing that goes through the turkey, and then you hook a thing onto that and lower it into the vat of boiling oil, and then you hook it again and lift it out. So that's me holding it by that. By that handle, by that meat hook. Yeah, basically.
But that's so overcooked. It's like, did you forget about it for like an hour?
No. It's just that it got too hot.
Was that supposed to come out at 5:30 or 11 p.m.?
Exactly.
It is, black.
Yes.
On the outside.
Was it even edible?
I swear to God, it was delicious. I swear. Like, I'm not even lying. You can ask
well, now
Kitty.
we know Kyle's not going to heaven.
You can ask Kitty. It was perfect. It was just the outside skin part was like dark and black.
Just
basically.
the outer inch of turkey.
No, it wasn't even the outer inch. Just the skin. Like, as soon as you cut the skin, I carved it up, and you open it up, and it's juicy, delicious white meat. I swear it was. I'm still eating this turkey. It's great, but the legs were ruined because, those cook faster than anything, of course. But the breast, which is all that you need for 4 people, was delicious. However, when I brought it in, my entire family laughed at me. They were just like, ah! My mom was
fucked up the turkey.
My mom was like, it's just like on Christmas Vacation when they cut it and it just goes poof. Smoke just shoots out. My dad's like, save the neck for me, Clark.
So did you go into the dining room with that pre-started excuse where you're like, no, before anyone says anything, know that the inside's fine.
I didn't
it's
know
just
the inside was fine.
They tell you not to eat dark black meat, but that's a wives' tale.
When I brought it in, I paused on the porch because you do this outside, of course, so you don't burn your house down. So I'm standing on the porch looking at this thing in the light of the porch because it's out in the darkness at first, and I was like, oh, it looks really black. Maybe let me get into the lights of the porch, and I'm like, oh, it is black. Yes. And I just kind of paused there for 10 seconds, what the fuck am I gonna say? Because as soon as I walk in this doorway, they're all there. They're all right there as soon as you walk in. I walked in, and they're just all like, ah. Just really
this is Kyle's Cajun blackened chicken. That's what I'm doing.
It honestly, and even the skin, the skin looked inedible. But I'll tell you what, as soon as I tried the skin, it was crispy and salty and delicious because I brined this turkey in a bucket of salt water and brown sugar. It looks like the worst thing you've ever seen, but I promise it was delicious. But probably could have taken it out about. It was the timing was perfect. It was that the temperature got really hot at one point. Like it went up to like 450 degrees, and like it's supposed to be at 350 for 57 minutes, 3.5 minutes per pound.
So I guess it's hard to get the temp right. Like you don't just dial it to
Oh no, you've got like a
Dude,
burner
within
a propane burner
100
that you-
degrees. Like
know,
that's like going. The 60 miles an hour on the highway. Sometimes I look down and I'm going 210 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm like, man, like, oh yeah, you use an oxyacetylene torch to get it up to 10,000.
Well, I'm running inside and I'm like cooking the mashed potatoes, and that
such a
takes like
huge
10
difference.
minutes. By the time I got up there, the temperature had skyrocketed, because it's just a propane burner under there. You need a man.
So when you cook with your regular thing, do you sometimes put it on self-clean, like just to see out by accident?
You need someone manning the burner. That's the key
The fact that
takeaway
you
from
didn't
this.
your dad should have been standing out there doing guard.
Well, he wasn't there. Like he got there right about the time the turkey was about to come out. So it
Just
was
in time for the mocking. Yeah.
just in time for the mocking, and that's how I wanted it. He was like, "Oh, I'll show up an hour early," and I'm like, "No, I'm cooking everything. Like I'm not gonna be able to entertain you. You're just gonna be sitting there. Just show up at 6, and everything will be ready." And it was. It was delicious. I swear to God,
It was more than ready.
more than ready.
Yes,
More than ready.
It's twice as ready as it needed to be. The way you get the juiciest breast is when you cook it at such a high temperature that the legs are inedible.
It was like
all that
Auschwitz
heat.
fried turkey. It was gone.
Doing the math, it was about 30% more ready than it needed to be.
The parts of it were, but the breast part delicious. The legs, I just threw those away, and the whole carcass. It looked horrible, but it tasted delicious. It was really funny. Like while I was finishing up the mashed potatoes, the turkey's sitting there. It needs to rest for 20 minutes, especially after what I did to it.
Yeah.
And my dad's sitting next to it at the table, waiting on the sides to arrive and stuff. And he's sort of picking at it a little bit. And every now and then he'll put a piece of it in his mouth, and it sounds like he's eating potato chips. Because he's picking like the crunchiest bits off the legs and stuff.
The outer
like,
inch.
like the turkey jerky that I had made. So yeah, it was an excellent Thanksgiving. I thought I was.
Well,
I
that's
was very-
good. When I saw that turkey, I didn't think that you had turkey for Thanksgiving. I thought that was like Domino's is open. It'll go well with our sides. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it worked out in the end. I was so afraid that when I cut into the turkey, it was going to be like dry and terrible, or black on the inside, like black all the way through. But you cut it open.
Yeah, that must have been a stressful 20 minutes as you were sitting there like, what does the inside of that thing look like?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But we cut it open and it was delicious. I'm maybe that's how much you should cook it, because the inside was delicious. I saved the oil.
Well, but don't you want to be able to eat the legs? That's one of the really good parts of the.
I don't like the leg. I don't like the dark meat. We've been over this, but I'm gonna fry some more stuff this week because I've got 4 gallons of oil out there. I can cook anything. I'm gonna. I've got an extra turkey because we had a friend whose work gave him a turkey, and he's like, "Hey, you want a turkey?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so I'm going to cook another fucking turkey tomorrow. I'm going to eat up the rest of this turkey and then new turkey.
So we did our Thanksgiving one day late, and it was just us, the 4 of us, and my mother-in-law. Hope was back in town. And I'm such an asshole because I have all these internal thoughts. Like, so my mother-in-law, most people know, she's in her final days now. And they're loading up her plate with all that food. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're wasting all that food. She doesn't eat. She doesn't drink.
Give her a little tidbit of it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh my God. So she had, I bet her plate was just like yours, Kyle, overflowing with the bounty. And yeah. And she'd just maybe poke at it for 90 seconds, go to the bathroom, repeat. And just kept getting up, and she didn't eat anything. She drank water. She wanted water to drink, which is good. And
boring.
Dude, she put her mouth on the straw and drink, and I'm eyeballing
watching her.
How much. Yeah. The water level doesn't even move.
The liquid got halfway up the straw and then went back down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I call her. I would because she's supposed to be eating and drinking
Didn't make
more.
it that time.
It's important. And I'm like, you didn't drink. Have a drink. It's important. You need to be drinking. And then she gets the water level to move in the glass most of a centimeter, and it's just like, yeah, that's your like go for it with gusto amount, a centimeter.
Yeah. You're gonna hang your hat on that?
Yeah, right. So that was my internal thought process as our Thanksgiving was going on.
I'd have been right there with you. I watch people while they eat. Like I look for people who hold their knife and fork wrong. People who hold it like a goddamn caveman. And there's a few different acceptable ways, in my opinion, to hold it. You don't have to hold it like. I wish I had a like if this.
I hold it kind of like a pencil.
Like a pencil. Like a pencil is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wish I had a.
But there are alternatives too. Like everything I have.
I'm
too
okay
big.
if you hold it like a shovel. Like depending on what you're eating, you can hold it like this. Like if it's mashed potatoes and you're just scooping them up and really going to town, I'm okay with that. But
No,
if you hold it like you're stabbing someone and you're like. Doing something crazy like that, which I've seen.
Who do you dine with?
You're one, you're one level more tolerant than me because I don't even accept the shovel. Now I'll accept the little 3-prong pencil grip. Sometimes people use it like as a lever and they have it like that, and I'll accept that too.
That's a little odd.
If your entire hand is used, it's incorrect. You look like a toddler the way they would like hold the sippy cup. Like I think there are two from I think I remember this from that horrible cotillion class my mom made me take.
You took a cotillion class?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So I learned how to swing dance and learned all fucking
foxtrot.
Of course, I can do more than foxtrot.
What do you think? He's an animal?
Yeah. But, and what else did they taught us all the manners and everything you're supposed to do at dinner. And they said that there are 2 acceptable ways to eat with your knife and fork. Like in proper settings, as this like fucking 52-year-old used to be hot lady running the show is like, yeah, we get it. You're loving this. Like you probably wish you had kids, right? Like this is filling a hole somewhere. And
Jesus Christ.
that was mean. She was actually not that bad. But they're like, all right, you can hold it fork, left hand, knife, right hand, and then cut like European style. And then with like the fork going downward, you put it in the meat and then you eat with your left hand. Or the American way, which is you cut and then you put the knife down and switch hands to your right hand with your fork and then eat that way. I never did the hand switching thing because it seemed like too much effort to eat steak.
And I mean, so fast that we're.
So
yeah,
when I
using the right.
When I took my paramotoring course, the instructor was German, and his father was like, I felt like he was trying to fucking alpha me all the time, right? And like the first time we went out, he corrected how I ate because I ate the American way. Now I have good table manners, I promise you. If you guys are listening, like you would be happy with my table manners.
Well, you handle your knife and fork right, but let's not go as far as to say you have good table manners because you do some shit at the table.
Well, I mean, sometimes they get horny. So they were like, they were telling me to eat it the European way. A fork goes in this hand, knife goes in this hand. You eat it with the fork inverted, and it was just like, what the fuck? I mean, the next time we went out, I was doing daily vlogs at the time, and they're like, hey, can you put that camera down? And we're gonna eat here, and I was like, no, this is my living, and I don't tell you how to make yours, and. I don't know. It's time to fucking put my foot down, assholes. But what kind of person tells a 43-year-old man how to eat?
How did that come up? So you were sitting there eating, and then he goes, I can't help but notice that you're not eating correctly. No? And like, after this, we are going to fly about, yeah?
It wasn't far from that. He was just like, it was more along the lines of like, in Germany, we're really strict on how table manners are done. If my kid were eating like that, I would fix it and let him know that this is the right way to eat your food.
Man, if you're that passionate about it, you probably should have taken those past couple wars a little more seriously because we could all be eating your way.
We would troll them fucking constantly about the war. Like every time they said anything, we'd be like, yeah. And what I'd do is I'd haze them about the war, but I'd get all my facts wrong. So
you need this shirt I'm wearing right now.
Oh, really?
It's back-to-back World War champions.
So I would say shit like, like if you guys were any good at this, then, the Germans would have done better when they bombed Pearl Harbor or something like that. Which, of course, it wasn't the Germans. It was the Japanese.
Yeah, it wasn't the Germans.
So, I would just constantly be like, the Germans, they did really poorly in Africa, when, of course, it was the Italians that did the bulk of the fighting in Africa. And I would just say incorrect shit that they did wrong constantly. That was my trolling. I would study. I would like come like, all right, I need new material. I don't know that much about World War II.
I bet they loved you.
Fuck them. I didn't start it. Just like the
Oh,
war.
I have something to say about the war. It'll come to me.
It'll come to you. All right.
I was just watching Band of Brothers. It's funny we're talking
That
about this
show
right now.
is so
I watched it over the course of the last 3 days or so.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love Band of Brothers.
Do you have
I
surround
tried it-
sound?
No, not
Oh.
exactly. No,
That show takes advantage of it. Like the bullets, like it make you
whiz
look.
by.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm trying to start the Pacific now. I've seen the Pacific before. Pacific is just a real step down. And like if nothing else, in the cast, like the cast of Band of Brothers is fucking outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Jimmy. I'm recognizing people that I didn't used to know from the rewatch. Like Jimmy Kimmel's in there for Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy
Yeah.
Fallon like rolls up in a jeep. He's like, "You got all the ammo you need," and then he's gone. But the guy
Of course,
who played-
David Schwimmer.
David Schwimmer, of course, always knew him from Friends and everything.
Who's the big, strong guy? Played Buck.
You mean
Bull.
Bull?
Is it Bull? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Blonde
don't really
hair.
think he's. I don't know him
I
from
swear
anything
I've
else.
seen him from here and there. But yeah, their cast was excellent. And I'm glad you said Pacific was a step down because that's how I see it. Band of Brothers on a 1 to 10 scale for war films, I guess it's a 10. I can't think of anything I've ever liked more. And if so, something
Tom Hardy?
I totally
Tom Hardy's
agree.
in there.
So
Oh yeah, I didn't recognize that until the last time I watched through. I'm like,
Yeah,
is that fucking
same.
Tom Hardy? Like very
Yeah,
young
very
Tom
young.
Hardy.
and I don't think Pacific's bad. It might be a 7. It's just
Yeah,
I
that
put
agree with that.
Pacific at
Yeah.
like an 8 or 9. It's
Okay.
just that the first one is so good. Like
Yes.
the only like movie that I put almost on that level is Saving Private Ryan as far
Mm-hmm.
as war movies. But yeah, Band of Brothers is the best war epic ever.
They
Yeah.
just like it just
Unbeatable.
drags and
Did Clint
Pacific
Eastwood
drags
make it?
to me.
Did
No,
Clint Eastwood make the Pacific?
Tom Hanks was involved.
In both of them, yeah, Tom Hanks was involved. Like
Yeah.
the
Band of
executive
Brothers?
producer.
Okay.
Yeah, he
he's
wasn't
not
an
in it or
actor. He was
anything.
yeah.
And he provides voiceover for the Pacific.
Oh yeah, you're right. He does.
Yeah, it's just okay to me. Like I don't care for most of the main characters. Like Lucky, I'm watching Lucky and I'm just like, dig yourself out of it. Like what's your problem? Let's go kill some fucking Japs. Come on. Like you didn't, the original cast. Those guys were hard fucking core. And they're always talking about Toccoa men. And I live 10 minutes from Toccoa, so I've been up. I do. So it's kind of cool that.
So
that
are you a Toccoa man?
I'm a Toccoa man. I've been up to Currahee and down in a car. I'm like 3 miles up, 3 miles down. Fucking riding.
David
up that thing.
Schwimmer plays the hateable fucking
So-
drill sergeant so well in that, where he's that annoying like "Hi-yo, Silver!" He's running up there. And it's like, God, you're fucking obnoxious.
Was that? I watched that and I'm like, well, was that supposed to be that lame? Or is Hi-Yo Silver a thing that maybe people said like everyday slang? I don't know.
I think that's
Yeah,
what,
that's true. Because maybe back in the day,
Lone
that was
Ranger-
like, fuck yeah. Like,
I think that's from like the Lone Ranger show, or maybe comics back then, or graphic novels, whatever it was. I think the Lone Ranger's horse was Silver, and he'd say "Hi-yo, Silver," and get the horse moving. I'm pretty sure that's where that comes
I
from.
knew
But
that. I just don't know if it worked its way outside the show, right? Because I don't sit here saying X-Men Unite or whatever the fuck they say, but for all there are other things where like yippee-ki-yay motherfucker never became common language, but there are things that come from TVs and shows that people say.
yeah.
Just don't have any examples right now.
Like when Floyd Mayweather wanted his bodyguards to swarm in, he went, "Voltron, assemble!" And all of his bodyguards ran in together.
yeah.
And then became a
a
giant
wizard is never
bodyguard.
late. Yeah.
No, that would if they had become a giant bodyguard, that would have been so cool. No, but they just ran up and started whooping on people.
Are they all gonna wear the same clothes? Yeah, I was thinking you'd be the arm, and I'd be like, no, I don't know why in the
thought
same
Clint Eastwood.
outfit, Charlie.
Where-
Oh, you think that's better? Yeah.
I was watching Ice Poseidon stream maybe last night or the night before. I think he's in Florida, and he was in a Walmart, and there was this guy, and he was like, "Are you Wings of Redemption?" And the guy's like, "Huh? No? All right, okay, never mind, man." And he just
That
keeps on
happened?
going. Yeah, because he knows he's a big COD guy back in the day, so he knows who everybody is. And the little, if you asked him who T. Martin was, he'd know, or a
So he just
syndicate or
asked
whatever.
a heavy gentleman.
He asked a heavy gentleman at Walmart if he was Wings of Redemption.
Oh,
as a
Ice
gag.
Poseidon asks.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
follow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
it's,
someone asked Ice if they were Wings, like they knew Wings, but not Ice Poseidon. I got all mixed up.
Let me
So
see
he
if
was
I
just,
can
he was
find
just
it.
filming himself walking around Walmart.
Well, he doesn't. He live streams. He's an IRL streamer, so he streams like his
Life.
everyday life, and he tries to make it interesting.
What he does nicely is you have to do it to understand, but it takes a certain kind of bravery to interact with other people with the camera on. Yeah, and I admire that he just dives right into it. He encourages conversation. Some guy in another car will be saying, that's unusual. You got a camera on your head, and he's like, what? I don't see what's unusual. He's looking like a fucking unicorn. Like this seems normal to me. And he does that well.
I'm not
I
exactly
saw
sure how it
somebody
works.
that
I may have this wrong, but I think he's wearing a speaker now, and the chat when they donate, the speaker says whatever they type.
Michael, nice to meet you.
So he's outside in the parking lot of Walmart, and it says, "What's up, niggers?" And he's like, "Oh shit, I got to edit that. I got to fix that. I don't want to be the nigger guy."
It's too late. If I saw anybody live streaming their life in a store I was currently patronizing, like walking around with my cart, like I would avoid them. Like I would take different aisles. Like or would you?
I would too. I steer clear of that.
I might get in there.
Like that at all.
I might be
No,
like,
there's a 0% chance I would get in there. I'd be like, oh.
It depends on the scenario. Like I've been at like an event before, like at VidCon or something, and like there's people walking down the streets of LA, like vlogging. This guy with 400 subscribers, and I just run up behind him and just be like, hey, and then I just keep going. And I know they're somebody in their comments could be like, holy shit, you didn't know that was that guy right behind you. And
VidCon is. I've never been, but I would think you anticipate that a little bit, right? Like, but neighborhood Walmart, when you're like, oh man, do I really need the Cheez-Its this week? And then somebody comes in like, hey, what is going on? It's like, all right, I know this is fucking you goofing around and everything, but the rest of us are just shopping. Like,
I don't know which way I'd go. There's a part of me that would do just what you're saying. There's another part of me that's like, that guy's live streaming. Sun's out, guns out. Take the shirt off and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm on your stream. I don't know
you
why.
have to be like, oh, all right, well, back to shopping then.
I know. Oh, this is Inside Out now.
this is time stamped if you want to see it.
What is
I
that?
thought it was funny.
Oh, is this the stream?
Yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah, the streaming is a lot of it's about time. You accumulate more people as time goes on, and that's where success is. All right, 3, 2, 1, play.
You did.
Were you just Ubering that guy?
Yeah. Well, no, I watched him a lot.
Oh, we're just,
Wings of Redemption?
huh? No, he's
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow, that makes sense. Yeah, we're doing a live stream.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
I paused it. I was really waiting for to call that other guy KSI.
Yeah. Wings of Redemption? What? He's just confused. Yeah, I don't know what they were going to go in the woods or something. I didn't watch the rest of it. He was like buying a flashlight to go into the woods. He's in Florida.
That's cool. But there's gators in the Florida woods.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah, he's like, I hope the gators don't get us or something like that. Maybe they did. That'd be an interesting stream.
Yeah, I don't. He has me real curious. I don't think I'm not his target market. Whenever I see, like, I'm interested in it a lot, and then I watch it, and I'm like, oh, this. I really like the highlights.
Yeah, it needs to be when he's really doing a thing. Like he had backyard boxing a while back, and the two guys he had fighting hated each other. They're like online enemies. And like the one guy was like crying. He's like, you said this about me, and you said this about you got my mother doxxed, and this and that, and they're calling our house. And they're like, all right, calm down, guys, calm down, put your headgear on. And they go at it, and they have this fight, and the winner ends up crying then. And then they have another bout, and there's, of course, like people, it's a backyard full of just it looks like those pictures of when they have Reddit get-togethers and then they take a group photo and everybody's just bizarre looking, and it looked like that, but assembled in a Los Angeles backyard for an amateur impromptu boxing match.
All right, I'm very curious. It sounded like one guy was a dick and one guy was a victim.
They were both dicks.
They both had their arguments.
There are no good guys in there. Everybody in that backyard was a horrible person. You could tell.
Now, was there a clear winner in the fight? Would one guy outclass the other?
It went on for so long that I stopped watching, but one guy, was definitely like the shorter, fatter guy was just throwing bombs and they were accurate. And the other guy was too gangly, like he'd get tied up and he couldn't do anything. But the short guy that was throwing like
I'm surprised the fight was long. I don't know if you guys have been in any fights. They're exhausting.
Well, Ice was the referee, wearing his referee uniform and everything, and he'd like, whoa, he'd separate the fighters. All right, go, and he'd like get it going again, and they tie up or whatever.
Most normal people don't even have the energy to be in a real fight for more than like a minute.
I know.
Before you're like, let's put our differences behind us.
Professional hockey players only have like 40 seconds in them.
Yeah, they were getting exhausted. They were
defensemen.
taking timeout breaks, and one guy got hit in the nuts.
Taylor, you said not defensemen?
Not usually defensemen. They're out there longer.
They're out there. No.
Kyle being
A
exasperated
hockey
already.
fight. A hockey fight.
The fight. Yeah, you're right. Most of them, like, you get exhausted real quick because half the effort is expending just balancing and trying to keep the other guy from fucking you. But
yeah.
Anyway, so the backyard brawl.
It was very interesting, I thought. But that's just one. What I was getting at is like his highlight shows when they're doing a thing, or they have, or there's prizes, and he assembles a crew of his viewers. He's like, "All right, everybody, we're here. Show up. We're gonna have people, bob for golf balls in a tank of shit, and then eat hot peppers and get pepper sprayed for $1,000. Come on down." And then you get 3 guys actually doing it, like. Those are great. And then you're like worried. He was worried that security over here at this building was going to break it up because they're just on the sidewalk. And then they go up there and check on security. He's watching the stream. He's one of the viewers. He's like, nah, y'all do y'all's thing.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
That's funny.
This is an unlisted video with 130,000 views. That's a good amount.
Yeah, well, I guess, it's streaming for 6 hours, and maybe I guess he unlists it after the stream is over. I don't know how it works, but yeah, I enjoy his stuff when it comes on. I had a bizarre dream about him the other day, because I dreamed that he like burst into my house and like started streaming like in my bed, like wake up, we're on live now, and I was like, what the fuck, what? All right. And then we commandeered Kitty's golf cart and like went and killed some dogs. It was bizarre. It was a real crazy dream. He was like a psychopathic dog killer in the dream. I've been having crazy dreams. Like I'll have like 8 different dreams every night. And like last night I dreamed I fought a giant who was like 14 feet tall, and like his knee was all I could reach. So I just mercilessly beat his knee until he fell down, and I was the winner of the fight because he just couldn't get me. There's lots of
couldn't get you.
Well, he'd have to bend over to get to me, and I was all over that left knee, just really beating it up. He couldn't do anything.
Was it one of those fights where, like, as you were throwing the punch, he was like,
honestly, no,
it wouldn't go.
Those I've had those. There was a fight a while back where I was throwing elbows, and they were like slow motion elbows that I just couldn't make connect to this guy that I was on top of. But when I fought the giant,
the slow motion punches and elbows and kicks and running, that's when my brain, if I don't know I'm dreaming already, that's what triggers me to know I'm dreaming every time, is like the slow motion punch, because I'll be like, I gotta get away, or like I gotta fight him off, and then like after a couple slow elbows, it's like, oh, this just doesn't matter, it's not real. And then
I keep having the ones where I'm too uncoordinated to run. Like I'll start running and I'll get like 3 good quick steps, and then it's just like my legs are like jello. And then it's like 3 more good steps because I have to like think about each movement, and it's really infuriating. Last night I dreamed I got caught with a prostitute fucking her in a back alley. That was bizarre.
Giant?
No, she was normal sized.
But caught by who? I feel like you're allowed to have
police.
A prostitute. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there are some people who don't allow it. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, and I had a whole audience there watching too. That was part of the dream. They were all kind of cheering me on, like literally a dozen, 15 people or something.
Trying to pick some up, new tips.
Yeah, and I remember thinking in the dream, like, I better bring my A game because I've got an audience for this. And yeah, it was that was a bizarre dream. Just lots of fucked up dreams lately. All kinds of just weird scenarios, trapped in cabins with magical people. Always some intrigue. Like, it turns out one of the guys there is eating us because there's no food left. And every now and then he'll ask somebody to go help him with a light bulb, and they won't come back, but he'll show up with a big platter of roast beef for everybody, and everybody's eating the roast beef, and I'm looking around like, where's Larry?
What a generous cannibal. Right? I mean, I hate to be so prejudiced. I would have thought cannibals would mostly keep the food to themselves. I didn't think of them as sharers.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't consider that during the dream.
I don't remember the last time I remembered a dream. And Kyle, you seem to remember a dream
every
other
night. Yeah, every night I remember multiple dreams.
You tend to remember them when something wakes you up. Like, if you just wake up naturally and slowly, you usually won't remember it. But if it's like, bam, you wake up mid-dream, that's when you remember it.
I keep a
had
dream
a really
journal.
short dream when I was like, I don't know, like, have you ever had a dream so like jarring that you wake up right afterward? I'm sure, of course, you have.
Yeah.
But like all the dream, it was the shortest dream I've ever had in my life, where it was just me getting ready for school, and I was running out of the garage, and it was just my mom being like, "Taylor, time to go, get out here, we're leaving." And it was me, hitting the garage door thing to close it, and then I would run through as it's closing, as you always do. And it was the entire dream was, "Taylor, come on, we're leaving, let's go." And then I go hit it, and it goes, and I run over. I like step on my own shoelace, fall, and the garage door cuts my head off, and I die. And then I'm just a head laying there, like looking at the car for a second. And then I woke up, just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not that afraid of school. Like, what else could it mean?
I had a dream that I was in a convertible, like, Oldsmobile, like an old one the other night, like one of the boxy ones. And I had like a full car of people, and there was a grandma, like not my grandma, but just a granny in the back seat. And we went under one of those old timey roadside billboards, the kind that like from Boardwalk Empire or something. And it was like, I was like, duck! And everybody like ducked except for Granny, and it just cut her head clean the fuck off. And I look back, and blood is just spurting out of her shoulders where her head used to be, and I'm just like, ah!
Yes.
And then there's cops behind us with the blue lights on. And I'm like, ah!
Young man, is this your grandmother's head?
I was like, oh, we can't stop. And so I just like off-road through like woods and bushes and stuff, and people are getting thrown from the vehicle, and it just all kinds of crazy fucked up dreams that escalate. Like, it'll start off with some normal shit, like we're at Walmart, and it'll end up being an alien attack where like the whole family's getting wasted. Or I have crazy they're often nightmares, really.
I rarely get nightmares. Very, very rarely. I mostly just don't remember my dreams for the most part. I guess if there was a theme, it's that they're always very disjointed. Like, when I do remember it, like the beginning part of the dream will be like me and a friend, or whoever, like, we're gonna rob this bank. It's like, yeah, because we're gonna rob that bank. And like halfway to the bank, like with all the ski stuff on, we'll be like, oh, like there's guns here, let's buy guns. Hey, let's go fight ISIS. It's like, yeah, fuck that bank thing. And it's just all over the place and eventually it just sort of ends.
Yeah.
Dennis says for his full penetration, back to the lab, full penetration, smell some crime. And then eventually it just is over. And it's always like a didn't get to come feeling in my dreams, because it's like, it's never like, yes, we robbed that bank, that was awesome, we got the money. It's always like, man, I made a bunch of grand plans and got like 10% in 20 directions and then woke up.
Yeah, I have that a lot. How often do you wake up during the night?
Pretty often, I guess.
It's
rare that I sleep through the night.
Yeah, I never sleep through the night. I wake up like 3 times throughout the night. Like every single night. It's really annoying. I wish I could go to sleep at, like, lately I've been going to sleep at like 11 p.m. and waking up at like 7 or 8 a.m. I wish that I could just sleep that solid 8 or 9 hours or whatever and get it over with. But I wake up at like 2, and then again at 4, and then again at like 6.
2, 4, yeah.
Something like
Are those
that.
all to pee? Or
Yeah,
you're just
usually. Well, yeah, I drink constantly. Like I've always got my Diet Pepsis, and like I got a gallon of sweet tea for Thanksgiving, and I've been going through that pretty heavily. I drank like a half a gallon of that last night. I also ate a half a gallon of ice cream this afternoon. I love that fucking banana split ice cream. It's my new favorite thing. I drink I ate a quarter of it. I get a half gallon of it at a time though. This bucket, and whenever I get down to the last half, I just take the whole bucket into my bedroom. It's in here somewhere.
Just take the whole bucket.
I ate the whole bucket. It's so delicious. It's wonderful.
Does sound good.
It's called Banana Split Sundae. You don't eat ice cream though. I don't know what your deal is. It's too cold.
It
What's
sounds good, but then I start eating ice cream, and it's like this almost just hurts my teeth.
See,
Like the
this
flavor's
makes no
good,
sense.
but what is this? Is this Kyle as a lady?
Oh my!
Oh yeah, you're.
I wish they could have gotten my upper lip completely clean for this.
I'd still fuck you. I'd definitely fuck female Kyle.
Female Kyle's pretty hot. Yeah, I'm liking it.
Female Taylor would be an ugly bitch. just a hairy, broad-shouldered, big-headed.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because like I had a dream the other night where I was it was you and I, and we were like secret agents, and we were doing our Russian accents, and I was like, I'm Dmitry, and this is Sergey the Head Gumanov. Like the Head was your gangster name. you were Sergey the Head Gumanov, and you were like over there in a leather jacket, like slicked back hair and everything, like and just mean mugging him. You were like, yes. I am the head.
The head. Do you know why they call me this? Well, aside from the obvious, I headbutt Putin in amateur hockey league. No one fuck with the head.
It was hilarious.
That is a weird ass dream.
Yeah, I woke up and I was laughing about the dream, and then I was like driving to the store later in the day to get Kitty something. I was like, the head.
That's pretty good.
Sergey the Head Gumanov. So yeah, if we ever do a two-man like Russian thing together, like I'm Dmitry Potapov and you're Sergey the Head Gumanov.
I like how your brain had the time to give me a UFC fighter name in the middle, but you didn't get one.
Well, they knew me. You know, I was bringing you in.
Oh, okay. Into the phone. This is the head, my associate.
Yeah. My cousin. We were cousins. That was the deal. That was the story. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I hope we did a good job on our mission.
I think they got you.
Oh,
I was
damn it.
okay.
The head?
Well, I mean, you're easy target. Easy target. They just popped you right away.
If I were one of those like targets, like they used a silhouette of me at the gun range, you know how it's usually like, you know, a certain score for the head, like they'd have to have it. You know, they have to be like, no. Can't use that guy's cut.
Man, I'm digging female. Like when I first looked at that, I was like, who's this chick that looks like me? I thought it was just a hot. Man, my eyes are just sparkling, right? Jesus. Look at
Your
that.
eyebrows look nicer.
Oh, yeah, they thinned those up a bit, stretched them.
Your nose is nicer.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just going to say all of this is nicer because, of course, I prefer the female version.
Yeah.
Actually,
makes
Woody,
sense.
where are you
Oh,
on this?
Jesus. You know, I saw it and I was like, I would fuck her. And I'm like, does that make me gay? Because I'm at like 300% already. You know, it's really gone off the charts.
It definitely doesn't make you gay to want to fuck a
I gotta
fictional
send
woman.
this to some girls. They're gonna love this. This is hilarious.
I wonder how those
I'll
would
put it
work if
back
you have
on
a
the
beard.
screen.
Do you
I
just
got it.
make you into a dwarf woman?
Yeah, well, if you look at her upper lip, it didn't work all that well.
No, they should have
They
polished
didn't-
the rest of the hair off and the
Yeah.
chin. You know, he's got like a little.
You see it on the chin? All I see is the
Yeah.
stupid like overlay.
I thought I saw stubble on the chin. Yeah. There's a little stubble on the chin, like right under my lip. And nice lips on that lady too. Yeah.
Yeah, they made the eyebrows nice. They put some makeup on her, and she's done it pretty well. She's a little bit of trainee vibe about her, but I'm still in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you started with such a masculine man, you know. I only go
That's
so
true.
far. Yeah.
Technology isn't there yet. You know? Clearly. Yeah, I like
hilarious.
those. That's really funny. Do they have them that go the other way, where you could like take like a girlfriend or someone and make them a guy and see what they would look like?
I like that. Yeah,
That would
cool.
be funny too. Chiz, find that. I don't think.
I don't think he's in the call. He can't
No, I
hear
don't
you.
think so. Either.
Yeah, if you
This
could,
is-
I want to turn Jackie into a man and see if Woody is like, oh,
Yeah, better yet.
yeah, better.
I feel a stirring inside my soul that I'd never felt before when I saw man Jackie. And that's when I knew
Of my
she was
heart.
going to have to transition.
Yes.
Whether she
started sneaking.
And-
you know,
and that's how I
Just thrown
began
into a
sneaking her
cornflakes.
testosterone.
We're having steak for dinner tonight. I don't think it's a great show topic, but I'm very excited. I don't have steak very often. It's probably been 2 months.
Oh, big fan of steak. I haven't had steak lately either. Next time I do it, I'm going to reverse sear it. You bake it for at 230 degrees or something for a bit. Get the inside temperature up to where it's supposed to be, and then you sear it. It's supposed to be like the best way to do it if you've got a big thick steak. I don't know. I usually do
does
like
Jackie do that or the opposite? I forget. Does she sear the outside? I forget
then
which.
bake it.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of YouTube videos on this, and my research tells me that reverse searing, which is baking and then searing, is the best way to make it juicy and delicious. But
Okay.
I think that only matters if you've got like a big, thick, crazy steak.
That's how.
I
Yeah,
want
that's
a
what we used to
steak.
do. Today's is just sirloin, but usually it's fillet.
Yeah,
I've got 2 entire fried turkeys because my grandparents, on actual Thanksgiving, we went down to the my mom's side of the family in the deep country part of Missouri, and
Sure.
my grandma and grandpa, they tend to go. Like everybody's like, oh man, my grandma makes so much food. It's like no, there's not a fucking grandma in this country that makes more food than my grandma. I swear to God, there were 10 people, 12 people total. She made 4 or 5 fried turkeys, an entire beef tenderloin, an entire beef prime rib. Like these are huge cuts of meat, an entire ham, and that's just the meat. That's just the meat that was available. It was enough. If every single person there wanted to eat 5 pounds of meat, we would have had leftovers. And so like the next day
It
after
sounds
we
like
woke
you've
up,
got room for one more person at the table. I'm just saying.
yeah, I have room for you and your family and their friends. Yeah, and so as I was leaving, my grandma's like, "Oh, Taylor, we didn't even get to those last 2 turkeys. You want to take those home with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you mean you're just gonna give me 2 entire deep fried turkeys?" Yeah, for sure. So now I have enough turkey to last me until next Thanksgiving.
Dude, I love
deep fried turkey. Oh,
Yes.
it's so good.
It's so juicy and delicious. When we get done here, I'm making a big sandwich out of the turkey and
I've
dressing.
got a bunch of her homemade bread, like her homemade loaves of bread and rolls that I'm
Yeah.
using to make sandwiches. Oh,
Did
it's
she-
not quite
like-
steak, but it's good.
Like, did she make like cornbread dressing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She made a couple different kinds of dressing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Is there like celery and like onions in it?
I don't know.
just-
I didn't watch her make it.
Well,
But-
you can see it when you eat it. There's little green vegetables in there. That's the celery.
I don't know. The meal was a blur. Like,
I only
remember-
ask because there's so many different ways to do like stuffing or dressing, and like everybody's is different. And like the way I do it is I make cornbread first and I crumble it up and I
Is your
saute.
favorite thing always the turkey? Because
No.
my favorite thing is always the meat. Like nothing ever competes.
I really, really like the dressing with the gravy on it. Like the gravy is key to everything. Without the gravy, it would be the turkey. But when you add gravy, that dressing and the mashed potatoes are so fucking good. Just drowned in giblet gravy, and my mouth's watering. I love it. I've got a jar of the gravy that I saved. I got my mother. That's what my mother made. She made gravy and like deviled eggs. Like I didn't want her to have to really do anything. So
I do not like deviled eggs. We always
Love
have
'em.
them at like every event, but it's a texture thing. It's a
love 'em.
gross texture. Same reason I don't like mashed potatoes. All other potatoes are fine, but mashed potatoes, it's a gross texture. I'd rather have them diced or baked or anything like that.
No, I'm a big fan of mashed potatoes. I put a ton of butter in there. I mean, a lot of butter, like a stick of butter, and I just like squirt a huge amount of sour cream in there, salt and pepper, grate some American cheese, and then mash them all up with my potato masher.
Sounds good,
Yeah.
except not mashed, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, but all that butter, that probably make up for it.
It does. It does. They're smooth and rich and delicious. Yeah. I do twice
I'm
baked
gonna eat-
potatoes.
right after, like 30 seconds after we finish this, because
too.
all
Yeah.
this talk is made. Well, you've got a steak sizzling up as we speak.
I hope so. I'm afraid the crazy woman is going to wait till the show is over to start cooking.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
show has about 15 minutes left. Should I ping her now
Well,
and say,
You know,
Yeah. What would your thought be if you went up there and she was just finished and the credits were playing and nothing was done?
or if it was cold.
I'm kind of expecting that.
Well, what is the mother-in-law going to eat? Because I can't imagine steak being a good meal for someone who's.
I think she's already fed. I don't know what she ate though.
Yeah, you should ping her now. Hey,
All right,
how's that
I'm on
steak
it.
coming? You know.
I'll say I'm trying to phrase it right. I'll say 15 minutes minuets. God damn autocorrect. Minutes.
I'll be done in 15. Hope the
15
steaks are too.
minuets. Yeah, I hope the steaks are too. Yep, that's the way I would say it. Steaks in 15, toots.
There's two different messages. 15 minutes left in the show. I'm so hungry.
See that? There you go.
I think that'll get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I watched Walking Dead, and it was just retarded.
I don't even know what it was. I saw it and it didn't maintain my attention enough to like watch it.
There was like nothing happened. Rick got locked up by the trash people. He's naked in a container now because he went in by himself for some reason. The king is crying in his auditorium like a pussy.
Rick is
Carol-
unbelievably stupid. The king is a pussy.
Carol has gone off on some, like, everybody else, all the side characters have gone off on their own little side quests for no apparent reason while leaving their homeland completely undefended during wartime. Like, Rick just went out and started a war, and like Carl, I don't know, that chunky chick that they try to act like isn't chunky, the hot Latina chick with the scar on her face, Michonne, and Daryl have all went off on, and Carol have all went off on side quests instead of defending the home base.
As far as I can tell, Daryl is just doing diving catches on everybody else's fuck ups, right?
Yep.
Like they got away with the M2 Browning or whatever it was. That Carol didn't stop, so Daryl and Rick stopped that. This week they got away with, I don't know what they were getting away with, but out of nowhere, Daryl plows into him from the side with a trash truck. You know, it's just, oh my god, Deus Machina. Is that? I'm sure I pronounced it close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Oh, Kyle has it. There he is. Oh, I can't read the words or anything.
Yeah,
though.
it says, you know, you got the guy getting blown up by the
yeah.
by the RPG with this terrible special effects, and then
Wait, was that a real clip
because
from the show?
Walking Dead might be good this time on the back of that truck, and then boom, lol, it's trash. Yeah, it was a real clip from the show. Like she shot a guy with an RPG from like 15 feet away. It was and just vaporized him.
She's holding the
It looks like
RPG
a
at him, and he
YouTube
goes,
video
"You
from, like,
won't shoot,"
2011.
and she shoots right on the spot. It was kind of badass, but also kind of.
It was
Yeah.
kind of badass. And as soon as he said that, I was like, "She's gonna blow you the fuck up."
yeah.
Somebody points an RPG at you, you put your hands up.
You don't
And wouldn't
say,
that also-
"I dare you."
Be bad for her.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
usually
she's in
not
the
good
depth.
to shoot explosives at people 11 feet from you.
It, honestly, like if we're getting nitty gritty, it depends on what kind of warhead that specific RPG had on it. But it's you know, it's a TV
I like it when
show.
Kyle knows shit like this. Like, oh yeah, you get it. You know, if it had like a S239, she'd be fine. But if it
Yeah,
has
if it was a
S247,
If it was high explosive, like one of them that's meant for anti-personnel, then she's dead. But if it's an anti-armor one that's got like a shape charge in it that's meant to hit something and then shoot a liquid jet of metal through armor and then burn all the people inside of a tank or armored
From
vehicle.
that distance, though, like you could fill it full of fucking paint or silly putty, and it would kill.
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah, he's dead no matter what. And you know, some of those, depending on if it's an old RPG or a new RPG, they have different arming ranges. Like, you know, some of them are like the older ones have no minimum distance, so you could be running around with the thing, trip, fall, hit the ground, and it'll blow you up. If the nose cone hits the ground, it'll just explode on impact and you die. But some of the newer ones, you know, it's 30 meters, you know, it depends on the one. There's a whole bunch of different warheads for those RPGs, RPG 7s. It doesn't matter though. It looks silly what happened. Like
Yeah, that was. The point is, it's stupid, and
yeah. No matter what round they
feel
had,
bad about it.
it wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, there's nothing they could have put in there. That
the
would have
whole
done
show
that.
is dumb. What they needed to do was take last season and this season and make it one season. If the first 8 episodes were showing how beaten down Rick and his crew were, and the next 8 episodes were them fighting back, that would have been it, because they split it into a mid-season finale.
Yeah.
That would have been a nice thing. But to take
Agreed.
16 episodes and turn it into 32, everyone's just talking about how garbage it is.
Oh yeah, ratings are down to season 2 levels, and man, I hope the show dies. I really hope it dies.
I guess.
I let it die.
I heard Orville is good.
I heard that too.
What is Orville? Is that a new show?
Orville is a sci-fi Star Trek type show
Comedy.
that has Seth MacFarlane as the captain of this starship. It's not Star Trek. The consensus seems to be that it's
What
better
network?
than the Fox.
I haven't seen it. I'm going into it expecting a Star Trek parody because they look like Star Trek.
That's what people expect is a comedic parody, but it turns out apparently from what I've read is what you get is a good Star Trek type show.
It looks like Galaxy Quest.
It's not funny. It's comedy though.
It's
I gotta see it. There's a whole season done.
It's definitely going to be a comedy. It's got Seth MacFarlane in it.
it's not. I mean, no.
Kyle's saying.
Oh,
no?
have you already seen it, Kyle?
I haven't seen it, but I've read about it a lot. It's not like all right. So Galaxy Quest. Have you ever seen that with Tim Allen and Sigourney
Oh
Weaver?
yeah, that's a bad movie.
That is a comedy. That is just a silly, ridiculous Star Trek parody comedy. This is not that. This is not that outlandish ridiculousness. This is like an actual Star Trek show that has some laughs in it, from what I understand. Galaxy Quest would have been a much better movie if they had stayed with the R rating like they initially meant to be. There's a part where you can see Alec Rittman saying "fuck," but it's they just dub over or something like that. That's got a great cast. It's Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, Tim Allen. It was supposed to be like an R-rated adult Star Trek parody that was funny, and they neutered it in the end.
My friend just got kicked. So paramotor thing. I mean, it's like hot off the presses. My friend got permission to fly at this field. He doesn't have like a big yard. He has a normal house, and so he has to go to like a farmer and say, "Hey, can I fly where you are?" And she said yes. Right. So he goes there. She says, "Yeah, you can fly here, whatever." Anyway, he just writes, "I just lost my best local flying site because, in quotes, you got to be out of your ducking mind if you think I'll let you fly that from my land. I don't care what my wife said. Some crackpot lawyer will get your wife everything I have. Get it when you die on that thing. Get out of here." And my friend was like trying to talk to him, shake his hand or whatever. He would not shake his hand. Another guy was writing, and like, that would have been fighting terms for me. And he's like, I thought that might happen. He
That was
nearly
my
ran
first
over his wing
response,
with
though.
a car.
To be fair, well, not the running over with a car, but like if someone asked me, "Hey, do you mind if I fly around on this machine on your property where you're kind of liable for it?" I'd be like, no, you're not allowed to do that. If I see you doing it, I'm calling the police. Like, no, I'm not going to watch you break both your femurs and then I'm on the hook for it. Like when I find out that this person that I just met actually isn't that cool, or they have a vindictive wife that's going to be litigious. Like there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong.
I
Even
just
if you know
had
the guy's cool.
my friend launched from my yard today. I had him sign a waiver first. There's a standard thing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I was being a dick or not, but it's almost like it's not even about you, right? Like your next of kin might, be
And
the
it's about
issue.
protecting yourself. Yeah.
If he catches a bad wind and like fucking flies into the side of your house like a cartoon character,
Power
and goes
line.
splat, like he slides through the east sunroom, like his body swings through the windows, and he dies on your pool
Kyle,
table.
there's no
there.
eastern sunroom, silly
Whatever.
head.
Southeast. Yeah.
There is a southern sunroom.
He hits the sunroom and his body flies through it, and he's laying there sprawled out on the pool table, skewered by a pool stick. That's that.
I just thought because he got permission, and actually people tend to be, to my surprise, more than half say yes. If you ask them and you're nice and you say, hey, I want to do
Fools.
this, there's no damage to your yard. I'm just foot launching. I run 30 steps and then fly away. They're usually like, yeah, that thing's cool. And they're happy to see the show. But in this case, I guess the wife said yes, and the guy caught him in the act. I don't care what she says. You're going to kill yourself. And like, yeah. But so I had people sign waivers before they launch here. There's a
That's
template
smart.
you can get online.
I've signed many a waiver before I get to go do things that I've done on other people's property.
Yeah,
And a lot of times they're like, No matter what you do, even if it isn't your fault, if I fuck up and you die, it's not on me. If my employees fuck up and you die, it's not on me. And I'm like, well, tell them to be careful, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I want to do this thing, so I guess I'll sign anything.
I'll sign anything.
Yeah, right?
Well, I really want to shoot hogs out of this helicopter, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I accidentally catch a bullet in the back of the head,
Yeah.
my family won't come after you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's interesting, but I just fixed my paramotor. I had my first mechanical issue with it ever. The starter, basically, when you disassemble it, there's a spring in there that holds this clutch together, and it came apart. And I was really bummed because I like flying a lot. And when I don't know if you guys are like this or have anything like this, but even if it was like bad weather and I couldn't fly, knowing that it's sitting there broken in pieces bothers me. I don't like that at all. So Aviator PPG got me one and like instantly mailed off a warranty part, but it wasn't coming till Thursday. I'm like, Thursday? The fuck? Like I can't live that long. Really, I'm 44. I should be able to wait like 5 days, but turns out that's not the case.
No,
So-
when you're 44, it's like I don't have the time to wait.
yeah, I like the way you're thinking.
Life's ticking down.
So I bought the wrong part on Amazon, had it overnighted here, disassembled that starter, took like cannibalized, and I made a new starter, and it worked great. And it was neat. I learned a new skill. So it turned out super cool. And I fixed my
nice.
flew tonight. So
Did you send a second nagging text of like, how is the steak coming?
No, it says grumble, grumble, grumble. I'm like, sorry, that was my belly. And she hasn't replied to any of these messages. Yeah, so far, should I call her?
She's probably cooking the steak.
She probably is. And the show ends in like 4 minutes, so it almost doesn't matter at this point.
What kind of side item will come along with the steak?
It might be a Thanksgiving leftover, like this cranberry thing that we have. Or there'll certainly be a vegetable. We have potatoes, but I tend not to eat them because I'm still trying to lose weight. And potatoes are not helping that cause.
But they're so good.
Yes.
I love potatoes. Yeah, it might be my favorite food because they do so many things.
Like
They're-
roasted rosemary.
They're fantastic. The baked potatoes I like a lot. Roasted potatoes I liked a lot. These would be mashed potatoes hypothetically. Good, but actually I think that's the third best kind of potato at best.
Maybe.
I mean,
I like
diced
my
up and
favorite.
roasted is the best kind.
So my favorite kind is fried. I want to make my own French fries.
Oh
My
gosh, maybe
second
fourth
favorite.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, forgot about that kind.
I forgot French fries were made from potatoes.
My second favorite is the twice baked potato. That's of course when you bake the potato and then you gut the potato and you take all the innards out and you mix it with a ton of like just sour cream and butter and cheese and chopped up bacon that you just cooked, and then you mix all that together till it's homogeneous, and then you stuff it back into the potato, cover it in cheese, and then bake it for 15 more minutes. And that is definitely my favorite
That's
kind.
a little too Frankenstein-y. Like just make
Oh,
it.
dude, no. No, this is delicious.
Yeah, Taylor.
No.
No, stay in your
Trust me.
lane, Taylor.
Yes.
There's
Yeah,
a potato
yeah.
expert talking. We're just here to listen.
Do you hear me telling Woody where he should take off from? Do you hear me talking
Right?
to about wind vanes and shit?
Uh-huh.
No.
There are times when you just listen, and one of those times is when Kyle talks to potatoes.
About twice baked potatoes, yeah.
Absolutely. I've got this thing down pat. They're fucking delicious. They go off without a hitch. Just amazing potatoes. I'm a big fan. Food is my favorite thing.
It's
It's
definitely
way
a
up
good
there.
thing.
If it was, I think if it was food or sex, I'd go with the food.
Wait, are you talking about like in the moment or forever?
No, forever.
But what
Forever.
would
I would
18-year-old Kyle
definitely
have
go
gone with?
sex.
Probably, I don't know. I don't know. But here would be the decision. Either you get, I don't know, all the sex you want, whatever kind you want, however that works. But you have to eat like flavorless gruel, like oatmeal with nothing in it for the rest of your life, or it's only masturbation for you, and you get a smorgasbord of anything you desire every single day.
One of those
man.
situations, you're horny and fat. The other one, you just, after a couple years, you're going to get used to the gruel, and it'll just be part of your life. It'll just be like, oh, here's your protein gruel, here's your carb gruel, here's your fat gruel,
That's
or whatever.
fine. I
and
will
you just
say,
eat it all up. this is the right.
The guy
move.
who masturbates and eats really well, like, do I get a fedora with that lifestyle? You know, it's
How many years until you fucking kill yourself as you look at another delicious plate of something that you've eaten 100 times that year already? You know, and you're just wanting some companionship. Like, think about it. Like, sex is the correct option there.
I don't know if you remove sex from your entire like outlook in life, you might do fantastically be fantastically more successful. First of all, you can get yourself a man companion now because there's no sex, right? Like you can find someone who's sensible and not prone to.
I'm bumping you 10% for this. Carry on.
I'm just saying, like, well, you remove the sex, and then like a man is definitely a better companion than a woman, right? Like share wardrobes. He's gonna be more sensible. He's gonna bring
Carry
financial.
things.
Yeah, he can help you carry things. He doesn't need any help with carrying things. You know, just do his own thing.
I don't
tell
know
others
if I'd rather have a, like, hypothetically, like,
Gruel.
would I rather have a guy roommate or like a wife? Because
You
she,
get to keep your. How about this? You get to keep your wife, but just no more sex with her.
oh, I follow, but I was kind of transitioning to the, because I think you said, hey, if there's no sex, I'd rather have a guy. I'm gonna call him a wife,
Companion.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, because a guy wife certainly would be good at certain things, right? He might be more adventurous. He might, I don't know. He'd certainly be better at carrying things and wardrobe and what have you. But there's a certain, like, the fact that we're not the same and complement each other's weaknesses that works out well in the whole marriage scenario too.
Oh yeah, but like,
How about a gay guy?
no,
Yeah.
no. Now, what's the point in that? Like,
Well, I don't know.
Well, he
Like,
might
maybe-
complement your weeknesses, and you know what? My wardrobe would certainly improve.
Oh shit! Yeah. Now this is what you need. You just solved all your problems.
you want
Yeah.
to just eat bonbons, masturbating with your gay partner all day. How do you not see the scenario you're spelling out is the incorrect one? Well, I'm going to be jacked out of my mind on my protein gruel with pussy for days. Hey, Taylor, don't you wish you could have a bite of this chocolate ice cream? Oh, sorry, I got 6 girls sucking my dick right now. What are you saying? What are you talking about? Oh man, that ice cream does look pretty good. You're getting heavy, Kyle. Yeah. Hey, you know what guy should be your roommate in this situation? Me. Because then every day you can look out and go, what's he doing? Oh, he's fucking on the couch again with his goddamn gruel. You know?
We need separate couches.
Is that lube gruel? It comes in every kind. I didn't know that was part of the bargain.
Can't change your answer. Enjoy your fucking ice cream cake.
Well,
Ice cream cake.
PKN 171. I'm hungry as fuck.
Yeah.
Steak.
All right.